Well, in the last 24 hours, the growing feud between US President Donald Trump and his Ukrainian counterpart, Volodymyr Zelensky, has escalated to new heights, or well, one would say new lows, given the fact that Donald Trump is now calling Zelensky a dictator. If there were any lingering doubts about Donald Trump's view of the Ukraine war and America's support of Kyiv's fight against Russia, he put them to rest in no uncertain terms. In fact, President Trump said that Zelensky wanted to keep the gravy train of foreign aid running. Very, very strong comments coming in against Ukraine president. In fact, this is a day after he appeared to blame Ukraine for starting the war. And what really has been going around in a war that's been going on for almost 3 years? Take a look at this report.
Modestly successful comedian. He refuses to have elections, is low in a dictator without elections. He's not going to have a country left. Got to move.
These words spoken by the US President Donald Trump are not aimed at one of Washington's adversaries. Instead, Zelensky, one of the US allies, finds himself at the end of the Trump barrel. The sharp comments were in response to the Ukrainian president's remark that goes like this.
Президент Трамп з великою повагою до нього відносимося як до лідера народу, який ми дуже поважаємо, американський народ, який нас постійно підтримує. На жаль, живе в цьому дезінформаційному просторі.
The sudden war of words erupted after the Russia-US talks in Riyadh this week. Trump falsely blamed Zelensky for starting the Ukraine war. This blatant denial of the truth shocked even some Republicans back in the United States. International affairs experts have said that Trump has upended US's foreign policy in just a few days. Wars force people to pick a side, and Trump seems to be cozying up to Vladimir Putin. Zelensky has found support in European and UK allies, but Ukraine's largest supplier of weapons, the United States, seems to be swiftly gravitating towards Kremlin's rhetoric on the war. It's been almost 3 years of Russia's invasion, and Trump's attacks are playing into one of Moscow's rationales for the war, that the elected Ukrainian leader was illegitimate. The US has initiated talks on achieving peace in the region. This Trump-Zelensky public spat risks derailing those efforts, or worse, make matters more complicated. With Vishal Vivek, Bureau Report, NDTV World.
Sophie Fullerton, who's a professor of politics at Fordham University, joins me to talk more on this. Sophie, good to have you on the show. How do you see this complete swing in pendulum as far as American politics is concerned? How Zelensky is now being portrayed in the present administration?
I first want to say that such comments made by Trump are not only inappropriate, but they're shameful. This is a country that was invaded by an aggressor and did not ask for any of what Russia is doing on Ukraine. I will say, given Trump's history and his penchant for viewing Putin more in a sympathetic light, I'm not shocked with the way that this is playing out. What's concerning to me, though, is that Putin is an authoritarian dictator that has not only caused chaos in Ukraine, but also in Syria. And if Trump allows for any type of diplomatic relations to be normalized with Putin, what does it mean for the future and what does it mean for other countries? Zelensky has said in the past that if we allow normalization with Russia, we'll see Russia at Europe's door, and we'll see more of this type of authoritarian aggression normalized globally.
So that is one aspect in terms of how Zelensky is now being portrayed. Talk to us about where do you see this going in terms of a possible peace negotiations on this conflict?
To be honest, I don't know, because Trump is very erratic with his foreign policy. We're not talking about a calculated individual and very intellectual when it comes to his foreign policy decisions. We're talking about someone who's very erratic and very much interested in his own self-interests. For Trump's self-interest, that means advancing his America first policies and ideologies, be it isolationism or globalization. So it's hard to say. What is more progressive or positive for me to see is that there's some Republican pushback domestically. What we've been seeing, instead of pushback from Republicans, there's been this go-ahead, basically from Republicans. Sorry, go ahead. Arguing that. Go ahead.
Okay. I'm afraid I'm out of time, but Sophie, I'm going to give you this airtime. I commit sometime next week, because this story isn't going anywhere. It's going to be alive next week as well.